NBA player dates obese woman for fame. What happens next changes his career. The flash of cameras was blinding as Jason, the star player for the Los Angeles Royals, strode into the crowded gala. At 6'6" with an athletic build and a charismatic smile, he commanded attention wherever he went. Reporters shouted his name, fans held out memorabilia for autographs, and social media influencers angled for selfies. Jason basked in the glow of the attention. His recent winning streak on the court had made him the most talked-about player in the NBA, and his agents had ensured that his off-court persona was just as polished. But lately, whispers of arrogance and a lack of authenticity had started to swirl, threatening his image. "Jason, over here," a reporter called out, waving him over. "Any truth to the rumors about you scouting for a love interest to boost your brand?" Jason chuckled, playing it cool. "No rumors, just focus," he replied with a wink before slipping past the cameras. Inside, his manager, Tony, was waiting for him, holding a glass of champagne. "You're cutting it close," Tony said, handing him the drink. "The PR team's been on me all week. Your fans are demanding more personal engagement, something real." Jason took a sip and raised an eyebrow. "More personal? I'm at every press conference and meet and greet. What more do they want?" "They want vulnerability," Tony said, lowering his voice. "You've got the skills, the charm, but the public's starting to think you're all flash and no heart. We need to fix that." Jason sighed, setting the glass down. "So, what's the plan? Another charity event? A heartfelt Instagram post?" Tony hesitated before pulling out his phone. "Actually, we have an idea. Meet Vanessa." He held up a photo of a woman. Vanessa was nothing like the women Jason usually dated. She was curvy, dressed in a simple striped blouse, and her warm smile reached her eyes. Jason frowned, unsure of what he was looking at. "Vanessa's a social worker," Tony explained. "She's dedicated her life to helping underprivileged communities, and her authenticity is exactly what your brand needs. She's well-loved and relatable." Jason's frown deepened. "Wait, are you suggesting I date her?" Tony shrugged. "Call it what you want. Just spend some time with her, let people see the softer side of you. She's the kind of person who can humanize you, Jason." Jason leaned back, crossing his arms. "And what does she get out of it?" "A hefty donation to her community program," Tony said. "She's already agreed to meet you. All you have to do is show up." The next afternoon, Jason found himself sitting in a cozy coffee shop, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air. Vanessa walked in, her presence commanding in a subtle way. She wasn't flashy or overly styled, but there was an air of confidence about her that caught Jason off guard. "Jason, right?" she said, extending her hand with a friendly smile. "That's me," Jason said, shaking her hand. "Vanessa. It's nice to meet you." She sat across from him, her posture relaxed but attentive. "So, let's get straight to it. Your manager reached out about this arrangement. I'm willing to play along, but I have some conditions." Jason raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Conditions?" "Yes," she said firmly. "First, I'm not going to be a prop. If we're doing this, I want you to actually get involved in the community work I do. Show up, lend a hand, and make a real difference." Jason leaned back, considering her words. "All right, what else?" "Second, I want transparency. No lies or fake stories. If someone asks, we tell the truth. We're spending time together to raise awareness for my work and improve your image." Jason smirked. "You're pretty straightforward." Vanessa shrugged. "I don't have time for games, Jason. My work is too important." For the first time in a long while, Jason felt challenged. "Okay," he said, nodding. "I'm in." The first community event Jason attended with Vanessa was a food drive at a local shelter. The atmosphere was lively, with volunteers bustling about and families lining up for meals. Jason had expected to feel out of place, but Vanessa's warmth and leadership quickly put him at ease. "Here," Vanessa said, handing him a pair of gloves. "We're on sandwich duty." Jason followed her lead, assembling sandwiches and handing them out with a polite smile. At first, the cameras that had followed him made him self-conscious, but as the hours passed, he found himself genuinely enjoying the work. The gratitude from the families and the camaraderie among the volunteers were humbling. "Not bad for your first time," Vanessa teased as they took a break. Jason chuckled, wiping sweat from his brow. "It's harder than it looks. But I get why you do it. It feels good to help." Vanessa smiled, her expression softening. "That's the idea. It's not about fame or recognition. It's about making a difference." Over the next few weeks, Jason and Vanessa spent more time together, attending events, working on projects, and even hosting a basketball clinic for kids in underserved neighborhoods. The more time Jason spent with Vanessa, the more he began to admire her. She was passionate, driven, and unafraid to speak her mind. At one event, a young boy approached Jason with a shy smile. "You're my favorite player," the boy said, holding out a tattered basketball for an autograph. Jason crouched down, his smile genuine. "Thanks, buddy. Do you play?" The boy nodded eagerly. "I want to be just like you." Jason glanced at Vanessa, who gave him an encouraging nod. Turning back to the boy, Jason said, "You can be even better than me. Just keep practicing and believe in yourself, alright?" As the boy ran off, clutching the signed basketball, Jason felt a pang of something he hadn't expected: fulfillment. For the first time, his fame felt meaningful. Despite the positive momentum, not everyone was supportive. Social media lit up with comments about the unlikely pairing, some praising Jason for stepping out of his comfort zone, while others mocked Vanessa for not fitting the mold of a typical celebrity girlfriend. One particularly cruel tweet caught Jason's attention. "Is this a publicity stunt, or is Jason actually dating someone who looks like she doesn't even know what a gym is?" Thinking face, Jason's blood boiled as he read the comment. Vanessa, however, was unfazed. "Let them talk," she said calmly. "They don't know me and they don't matter." "But they're wrong," Jason said. "You're amazing and they don't see that." Vanessa gave him a small, knowing smile. "What matters is that you see it." As their partnership continued, Jason's perspective began to shift. The superficial glitz and glamour of his old life started to feel hollow compared to the meaningful work he was doing with Vanessa. She had shown him a side of the world he had never truly seen before, and in doing so, she had also shown him a side of himself he didn't know existed. One evening, after a long day at a community center, Jason and Vanessa sat on a park bench, watching the sunset. For the first time, Jason felt like he could let his guard down. "Vanessa," he said, his voice soft, "when Tony first told me about this idea, I thought it was just another PR stunt. But now, I don't know. You've changed the way I see things." Vanessa turned to him, her expression thoughtful. "I didn't set out to change you, Jason. I just wanted you to see the world the way I see it." "Well, you've done that," Jason said with a small laugh. "And I think you've changed me for the better." Vanessa smiled, her gaze warm. "Maybe we've both changed each other." Jason's partnership with Vanessa became a steady rhythm in his life. The media attention surrounding them hadn't waned, but Jason found himself caring less about the tabloids and more about the moments they shared. He started to look forward to their time together, not because of what it meant for his career, but because of how grounded it made him feel. One evening, after another day spent coaching kids at a local basketball clinic, Jason invited Vanessa to dinner. They sat across from each other at a modest restaurant, the kind of place Jason hadn't frequented in years but which Vanessa seemed to love. "Thank you for coming tonight," Jason said, setting his menu down. "I feel like we've been running on fumes lately." Vanessa smiled, resting her chin on her hand. "We've been busy, but it's been worth it. I can see the impact we're making, especially on you." Jason chuckled softly. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You've changed," Vanessa said simply. "When we first met, I saw someone who was all about appearances, someone who cared more about what people thought than who they were. But now you're different. You're present." Jason looked at her, her words striking a chord deep within him. "I think it's because I've been spending so much time with you. You have this way of making people see the best in themselves." Vanessa's cheeks flushed, but she brushed off the compliment with a laugh. "You give me too much credit. You've had this in you all along. You just needed the right push." Jason leaned back, smiling. "Maybe. But either way, I'm grateful for you." The days turned into weeks, and the bond between Jason and Vanessa grew stronger. What had started as a PR arrangement was now something real, though neither of them had put a label on it. Jason found himself confiding in Vanessa about things he had never shared with anyone, and Vanessa, in turn, opened up about her own struggles and dreams. One afternoon, as they sat in the bleachers watching kids play a scrimmage game, Jason asked, "Do you ever feel like people underestimate you?" Vanessa tilted her head, considering the question. "All the time," she admitted. "But I've learned not to let it bother me. People's opinions don't define who I am." Jason nodded, his brow furrowing. "It's just, I've been thinking about some of the things people have said about us. The way they mock you, or try to paint this as a stunt. It makes me angry." Vanessa placed a hand on his arm, her touch gentle. "Jason, I've dealt with people like that my whole life. The best way to shut them up is to keep living your truth. The more we show them who we really are, the less power their words have." Jason looked at her, admiration shining in his eyes. "You're incredible, you know that?" Vanessa laughed. "Don't let it go to my head." But not everyone in Jason's circle was as accepting of Vanessa as he was. At a team dinner one night, Jason overheard two of his teammates whispering about her. "Have you seen who Jason's been hanging out with lately?" one of them said, barely hiding his smirk. "Yeah," the other replied. "Kind of a different choice, isn't it?" Jason clenched his jaw, his temper flaring. He stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor, and the room fell silent. "You got something to say about Vanessa?" he asked, his voice low and steady. The two teammates exchanged awkward glances. "We were just making an observation," one of them stammered. "Well, keep your observations to yourselves," Jason said firmly. "Vanessa's one of the most amazing people I've ever met, and if you can't see that, it says more about you than it does about her." The room remained quiet as Jason sat back down, his point made. Later, when he told Vanessa about the incident, she shook her head with a wry smile. "You didn't have to do that," she said. "I'm used to people like them." "I know," Jason replied. "But you shouldn't have to be." As their relationship deepened, Jason began to reevaluate his priorities. He realized that the fame and fortune he had once craved felt hollow without purpose. Vanessa had shown him the value of giving back, of using his platform for something greater than himself. One evening, Jason approached Tony with an idea. "I want to start a foundation," he said. Tony raised an eyebrow. "A foundation? For what?" "For kids," Jason explained. "I want to create opportunities for underprivileged kids to access sports programs, mentorship, and education. The kind of opportunities one had growing up." Tony considered this for a moment before nodding. "It's a solid idea, and it'll do wonders for your legacy. But are you sure you're ready for the commitment?" Jason didn't hesitate. "I'm ready. This isn't about my legacy, it's about doing the right thing." With Vanessa's help, Jason launched the Carter Foundation, named after his late mother. The foundation's mission was simple: to empower the next generation through sports and education. The first initiative was a series of basketball clinics in underserved communities, with Jason personally leading many of the sessions. The response was overwhelming. Kids and parents alike were thrilled to see an NBA star not just showing up for photo ops but genuinely engaging with them. Jason's authenticity shone through, and the media took notice. Articles praised his transformation, highlighting his commitment to making a difference. But with success came challenges. The demands of running the foundation, maintaining his basketball career, and nurturing his relationship with Vanessa often left Jason feeling stretched thin. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, he found himself snapping at Vanessa over something trivial. "I don't understand why you're always pushing me," he said, his voice sharper than he intended. Vanessa crossed her arms, her expression calm but firm. "Because I know you can handle it. But if this is too much for you, maybe we need to rethink things." Jason immediately regretted his words. "Vanessa, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just tired." "I get that," Vanessa said. "But you need to figure out what matters most to you, Jason. Because I won't stick around if I'm just another thing on your plate." Her words hit him like a punch to the gut. Jason spent the rest of the night reflecting on what she had said, realizing that he needed to find balance, not just for her, but for himself. The next day, Jason showed up at Vanessa's doorstep with a bouquet of flowers and an apology. "You were right," he said. "I've been trying to do too much and I took it out on you. I'm sorry." Vanessa accepted the flowers with a small smile. "Apology accepted. But remember, Jason, it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to do everything alone." Jason nodded, pulling her into a hug. "I'm just glad I don't have to face this without you." Over time, Jason learned to delegate responsibilities, leaning on his team at the foundation and trusting his instincts on the court. His relationship with Vanessa became a source of strength, grounding him as he navigated the challenges of his career and his mission. One evening, as they sat together on the couch watching a movie, Jason turned to Vanessa with a thoughtful expression. "You know," he said, "I used to think my career was all about winning championships and breaking records. But now, I realize it's about something more." Vanessa looked at him, her eyes warm. "What's that?" "Leaving the world better than I found it," Jason said. "And I couldn't have done any of this without you." Vanessa smiled, her hand finding his. "You've done it, Jason. You've found your purpose." The ripple effects of Jason and Vanessa's journey continued to spread, touching lives far beyond what either of them had imagined. Together, they proved that true strength wasn't about appearances or accolades. It was about the impact you made and the people you lifted along the way. The Carter Foundation had become a force of change, expanding its reach and offering opportunities to communities nationwide. Jason and Vanessa's relationship, now an unshakable partnership, served as the foundation's emotional core. Everywhere they went, their dynamic inspired others, not just because of their success, but because of their authenticity. But with growth came scrutiny. The more successful the foundation became, the more the media speculated about the authenticity of Jason and Vanessa's relationship. Tabloid headlines like "NBA stars charity romance, real or PR?" and "Vanessa, the secret weapon in Jason's image overhaul" circulated relentlessly. Jason tried to brush it off, but Vanessa noticed the toll it took on him. "You're letting them get to you," she said one evening as they prepared for bed. Jason rubbed his temples, clearly frustrated. "It's not about me. I don't care what they say about me. But they're dragging you into it, questioning everything we've built." Vanessa sat beside him, her tone calm but firm. "Jason, what we've built speaks for itself. The kids we've helped, the communities we've supported, those are the real results. Let them talk. It doesn't change the truth." Jason looked at her, admiration shining in his eyes. "How do you stay so grounded?" "Because I know who I am," Vanessa said simply. "And I know who you are. That's all that matters." A few weeks later, the foundation hosted its largest event yet, a charity basketball game featuring Jason, his NBA teammates, and community members. The event was a celebration of everything the foundation had accomplished, but also a chance to showcase the talent of young players from underserved areas. Vanessa sat courtside, watching as Jason coached a team of local kids. His encouragement and energy were infectious, and the young players thrived under his guidance. The crowd cheered as one of the boys, a shy teenager named Marcus, made an impressive three-point shot. Jason ran over to high-five Marcus, his enthusiasm genuine. "That's what I'm talking about," he shouted, grinning. The game ended in a close victory for Jason's team, but the real win was the sense of joy and community that filled the arena. Afterward, as Jason and Vanessa mingled with the crowd, a reporter approached them. "Jason, Vanessa," the reporter began, holding out a microphone. "This event has been an incredible success. What's the secret to your partnership?" Jason glanced at Vanessa before answering. "The secret is that it's not a partnership, it's a relationship. Vanessa has taught me so much about what it means to care, to give back, and to be real. Everything we've done here is a reflection of her heart and her passion." Vanessa's cheeks flushed, but she smiled warmly. "And Jason has shown me that when you combine heart with action, you can create something truly extraordinary. We're just getting started." The reporter smiled, clearly moved. "It's inspiring to see two people making such a difference together. Thank you both." That night, as they cleaned up after the event, Jason pulled Vanessa aside. The arena was empty now, the echoes of the cheering crowd replaced by the quiet hum of cleaning crews. Jason took her hands in his expression uncharacteristically serious. "Vanessa," he began, "I need you to know something. You didn't just change my career, you changed my life. Before I met you, I was all about the next win, the next headline. But you showed me there's more to life than that. You showed me what it means to really care, to give without expecting anything in return." Vanessa smiled, her eyes glistening. "Jason, you've done the same for me. You've reminded me that we're stronger together, that we can make a bigger impact as a team." Jason hesitated for a moment, then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Vanessa's breath caught as he opened it to reveal a simple, elegant ring. "I know we started this journey in an unexpected way," Jason said, his voice steady. "But what we've built is real. And I can't imagine my life without you. Vanessa, will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Vanessa's face as she nodded. "Yes, Jason. Of course, yes." Jason slipped the ring onto her finger, and they embraced, the weight of the moment sinking in. It wasn't just a proposal, it was a promise, a testament to the journey they had shared and the future they were building together. News of their engagement spread quickly, and while most of the reactions were positive, the critics didn't stay silent for long. Some accused Jason of using the proposal as another PR stunt, while others questioned Vanessa's motives. Vanessa, however, refused to let the negativity dampen her happiness. "We've faced worse," she told Jason one evening as they discussed the media frenzy. "Let them talk. We know the truth." Jason nodded, his determination renewed. "You're right, and we'll keep proving them wrong by staying true to who we are." As their wedding day approached, Jason and Vanessa decided to keep the ceremony small and intimate, inviting only close friends and family. The day was a celebration of love and partnership, filled with laughter, heartfelt speeches, and the unmistakable feeling of hope. Tony, Jason's manager, gave a toast that summed up their journey perfectly. "I've seen Jason grow in ways I never thought possible, and I know it's because of Vanessa. Together, they've created something bigger than themselves, a legacy of love, respect, and giving back. Here's to a lifetime of happiness and making a difference." As Jason and Vanessa danced under the soft glow of string lights, they couldn't help but reflect on how far they had come. What had started as a simple arrangement had blossomed into a partnership that transcended their individual lives. In the years that followed, Jason and Vanessa continued to build on their shared mission. The Carter Foundation expanded internationally, offering resources and opportunities to communities around the world. Vanessa became a sought-after speaker, sharing her story of resilience and purpose, while Jason used his platform to advocate for social justice and education. Their love story became a symbol of hope, a reminder that true connection and purpose could overcome even the harshest criticisms. And through it all, Jason and Vanessa remained each other's greatest champions, proving that together, they were unstoppable. One evening, as they sat on their porch watching the sunset, Jason turned to Vanessa with a thoughtful expression. "Do you ever think about how all of this started?" Vanessa laughed softly. "You mean the parking lot coffee shop where you barely knew my name?" Jason grinned. "Yeah. Back then, I thought I was doing you a favor. Turns out, you were saving me." Vanessa placed her hand over his. "We saved each other." Jason nodded, his gaze drifting to the horizon. "I think we've done all right." Vanessa smiled, her heart full. "I think we've done more than all right." And as the sun dipped below the horizon, Jason and Vanessa knew their journey was far from over. Together, they had built something extraordinary, and the best was yet to come. The Carter Foundation's reach had grown beyond what Jason and Vanessa could have imagined when they started. With programs in schools, community centers, and international outreach initiatives, their impact was profound. Still, the growth came with a set of challenges neither of them had foreseen. One of the largest hurdles came in the form of criticism that even their best efforts couldn't shield them from. Despite the Foundation's documented success, certain corners of the internet refused to let go of the narrative that Vanessa was merely a tool for Jason's career or that Jason himself wasn't truly invested in their mission. Social media was ruthless, and while Jason had learned to brush off most of it, Vanessa couldn't always ignore the hurtful comments. "Jason, I know I shouldn't care, Vanessa said one evening as they sat together on the couch, scrolling through the foundation's latest post. But sometimes it's exhausting. No matter how much we do, it's never enough for some people. Jason set his phone aside and turned to her, his expression serious. Vanessa, the people who matter, the ones we're helping, they don't care about what some trolls on the internet think. They care about the food drives, the scholarships, the mentorships. That's real. That's what matters. Vanessa smiled softly, leaning into him. You always know what to say. Because I know you, Jason replied. And I know how much heart you put into this. Let them talk. We've got work to do. The next big initiative for the Carter Foundation was a nationwide mentorship program, one designed to pair NBA players with young athletes from underserved communities. The program would offer not only basketball training but also life skills, education support, and pathways to higher education. The idea had come to Jason after a conversation with Marcus, the shy teenager he had coached during one of their clinics. Marcus had reached out months later, sharing that his time with Jason had inspired him to stay in school and pursue a career in sports medicine. If one weekend can make that kind of difference, Jason had said to Vanessa, imagine what we could do with a long-term program. Vanessa had fully supported the idea, and together, they set out to make it happen. The first round of the mentorship program kicked off in Los Angeles, where the Carter Foundation was headquartered. Jason and Vanessa attended the opening ceremony, which brought together young athletes, their families, and NBA players who had volunteered to mentor the kids. The energy in the room was electric as Jason addressed the crowd. I know what it's like to dream big but not always have the resources to make those dreams a reality, he said. This program is about more than basketball. It's about giving these kids the tools they need to succeed, both on and off the court. As the crowd applauded, Vanessa watched Jason with pride. He had grown so much since they first met, and seeing him use his platform to inspire others reaffirmed why she had fallen in love with him. After the event, a young girl named Sophia approached Vanessa. Hi, Miss Vanessa, she said shyly. I just wanted to say thank you. My mom says this program is going to change my life. Vanessa crouched down to Sophia's level, her heart swelling. You're going to do amazing things, Sophia. Just remember to believe in yourself, no matter what. Sophia grinned, clutching her basketball tightly. I will. As the mentorship program gained momentum, Jason and Vanessa found themselves busier than ever. Between foundation work, Jason's basketball career, and their personal lives, it was a juggling act that often left them feeling stretched thin. One night, after a particularly grueling day, Vanessa collapsed onto the couch with a tired sigh. Jason joined her, handing her a cup of tea. Long day, he asked. Long week, Vanessa replied, taking a sip. But it's worth it. Jason nodded, his arm draping over her shoulders. You know, I've been thinking. We've built so much together, but I don't want us to lose sight of why we started this. Vanessa looked up at him, curious. What do you mean? I mean, Jason said, that I don't want the foundation to take over our lives. We need to make sure we're still making time for each other, for the things that matter outside of work. Vanessa smiled, grateful for his thoughtfulness. You're right. We've been so focused on everyone else that we haven't had much time for us. Jason grinned. Then let's fix that. How about a weekend getaway? Just the two of us? Vanessa laughed softly. I'd love that. The weekend getaway turned out to be exactly what they needed. Jason and Vanessa escaped to a quiet cabin in the mountains, far from the noise and demands of their busy lives. They spent their days hiking, cooking together, and simply enjoying each other's company. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Jason reached for Vanessa's hand. Do you ever think about what's next for us? Vanessa raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? I mean, we've built this incredible foundation, and my career won't last forever. I want to make sure we're thinking about the future, not just for the foundation, but for us. Vanessa leaned against him, her head resting on his shoulder. I think as long as we're together, we'll figure it out. You've taught me that we can handle anything. Jason smiled, kissing her forehead. And you've taught me that the best things in life are the ones worth fighting for. When they returned from their trip, they felt recharged and ready to tackle the next phase of their journey. The Carter Foundation continued to grow, with the mentorship program expanding to cities across the country. Jason's NBA career thrived as well, with his newfound perspective making him a better teammate and leader. But the most significant milestone came one sunny afternoon when Vanessa approached Jason with a piece of paper in her hand and tears in her eyes. "Jason," she said, her voice trembling. "I have something to show you." Jason took the paper from her, his brow furrowing as he read the words. Slowly, a smile spread across his face. "Are you serious?" he asked, looking up at her. Vanessa nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. "We're having a baby." Jason pulled her into his arms, his heart pounding with a mix of joy and disbelief. "This is the best news I've ever heard," he said, holding her tightly. The news of Vanessa's pregnancy added a new layer of excitement and anticipation to their lives. As they prepared for the arrival of their child, Jason and Vanessa found themselves reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment. "I never could have imagined this," Jason said one evening as they decorated the nursery. "All of it, the foundation, the impact we've made, and now, starting a family." Vanessa smiled, her hand resting on her growing belly. "It's been an incredible journey. And I wouldn't trade it for anything." Jason wrapped his arms around her, his voice soft. "Neither would I. You've changed my life, Vanessa. And I can't wait to see what's next for us." Months later, as they welcomed their baby boy into the world, Jason and Vanessa felt a sense of completeness they hadn't known was possible. Surrounded by family and friends, they celebrated the start of this new chapter, knowing that the best was yet to come. The Carter Foundation's story didn't end there. It was just the beginning. With Jason and Vanessa at the helm, their mission continued to inspire and uplift communities, proving that when love and purpose come together, anything is possible. And as they looked into their son's eyes, Jason and Vanessa knew that their greatest legacy wasn't the foundation or the accolades. It was the love they had built and the lives they had touched. Jason and Vanessa's lives had transformed in ways they could never have imagined. Their son, Elijah, quickly became the center of their world, filling their days with laughter and late-night feedings. Despite the sleepless nights, Jason and Vanessa embraced parenthood with open hearts, marveling at how this tiny, new life had deepened their bond. But balancing their roles as parents, foundation leaders, and public figures was no easy feat. Jason often found himself rushing from practice to foundation meetings, while Vanessa juggled her responsibilities as a mother and a public speaker. Their once tightly woven partnership now faced the strain of constant demands. One evening, as they sat together in the nursery after putting Elijah to bed, Vanessa sighed heavily. "Jason, do you ever feel like we're losing ourselves in all of this? The foundation, your career, Elijah, it's all so important, but sometimes it feels like we're running on fumes." Jason reached for her hand, his expression serious. "I've been feeling the same way. I think we've been so focused on everything else that we've forgotten to take care of ourselves and each other." Vanessa nodded, her eyes glistening. "We need to find balance, Jason. For us and for Elijah." Jason squeezed her hand. "You're right. Let's figure this out together." The next day, Jason and Vanessa sat down to reassess their priorities. They agreed to scale back on some of their commitments, delegating more responsibilities within the foundation and setting aside dedicated time for their family. It wasn't an easy decision. Both were deeply invested in their work, but they knew it was necessary. "We've built an amazing team at the foundation," Vanessa said. "It's time to trust them to carry the torch. We can't do it all ourselves." Jason nodded. "And I'll talk to my coach about managing my schedule better. I want to be there for you and Elijah, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally." The changes were small at first, but they made a big difference. Jason and Vanessa began spending more evenings at home, cooking dinner together and cherishing the quiet moments with Elijah. They also started scheduling monthly date nights, a tradition that quickly became a cornerstone of their relationship. One of their first date nights was at a cozy jazz club in downtown Los Angeles. As the smooth melodies filled the air, Jason and Vanessa relaxed, their usual stresses melting away. For the first time in weeks, they weren't foundation leaders or parents. They were simply Jason and Vanessa, two people deeply in love. "This feels nice," Vanessa said, sipping her wine. I almost forgot what it's like to just be us. Jason smiled, reaching across the table to take her hand. Me too. We need more nights like this. As the evening went on, they laughed, reminisced, and reconnected. By the time they left the club, hand in hand, they both felt lighter, more grounded. Meanwhile, the Carter Foundation continued to thrive under the leadership of its expanded team. The mentorship program had become a national success, with dozens of NBA players joining the cause and hundreds of kids benefiting from the resources and guidance it provided. One particularly memorable moment came during a mentorship summit in Chicago, where Jason and Vanessa were invited to speak. The event brought together mentors and ments from across the country, showcasing the incredible impact of the program. As Jason took the stage, he looked out at the sea of young faces, many of whom had overcome immense challenges to be there. When we started this program, our goal was simple: to give kids the tools and support they need to succeed, he began. But what I've learned along the way is that success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become. And watching all of you grow into leaders, dreamers, and changemakers has been the greatest honor of my life. The crowd erupted into applause, and Vanessa felt a swell of pride as she watched Jason speak. He had grown so much since the day they met, and she couldn't imagine a better role model for their son. After the summit, Jason and Vanessa stayed behind to meet with the kids and their families. One young boy named Caleb approached them with a wide grin. "Mr. Jason, Ms. Vanessa, I just wanted to say thank you," he said. "This program has changed my life. Before this, I didn't think I'd ever go to college, but now I have a scholarship to study engineering." Vanessa crouched down to Caleb's level, her eyes shining. "That's incredible, Caleb. You've worked so hard to get here, and you should be so proud of yourself." Jason placed a hand on Caleb's shoulder. "You're going to do amazing things, Caleb. Just remember to keep believing in yourself." As Caleb walked away, clutching a signed basketball from Jason, Vanessa turned to him with a smile. "This is what it's all about." Jason nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Yeah, it is. And it makes all the hard work worth it." As the years went by, Jason and Vanessa continued to navigate the highs and lows of their busy lives. Their family grew, with the addition of a baby girl they named Maya, and their love for each other only deepened. The Carter Foundation became a global organization, touching lives in ways they never could have imagined. But through it all, Jason and Vanessa never lost sight of what truly mattered: their family, their purpose, and the love that had brought them together. One evening, as they sat on the porch of their home, watching Elijah and Maya play in the yard, Jason turned to Vanessa with a smile. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Vanessa laughed softly. "All the time. It feels like a lifetime ago that we were just two strangers in a coffee shop, figuring out how to navigate this crazy arrangement." Jason nodded, his gaze fixed on their children. "And now, here we are, building a life I never could have dreamed of." Vanessa rested her head on his shoulder. "It hasn't always been easy, but it's been worth it." Jason wrapped his arm around her, his voice steady. "Every single moment." As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Jason and Vanessa felt a deep sense of contentment. Their journey was far from over, but they knew that together, they could face anything that came their way. And as the laughter of their children echoed around them, they were reminded once again of the power of love, resilience, and the courage to believe in something bigger than themselves. The Carter Foundation's influence had become undeniable. Its reach spanned across borders, offering mentorship, scholarships, and empowerment to countless underprivileged youths. Jason and Vanessa's names had become synonymous with hope and transformation. Yet, even with all their achievements, Jason and Vanessa remained grounded, often reflecting on the humble beginnings of their journey together. One evening, as they tucked Elijah and Maya into bed, Vanessa looked at Jason, her expression thoughtful. "Do you ever wonder what our kids will think of all this when they're older? The foundation, the work we've done, our story?" Jason smiled as he adjusted Elijah's blanket. "I hope they see it as proof that no matter where you come from or what people say about you, you can make a difference. That's what this has all been about." Vanessa nodded, her gaze soft. "I want them to know that too. But I also want them to understand that our family is the heart of everything we do." Jason leaned down, planting a kiss on Maya's forehead. They will. Because no matter how busy things get, our family, will always come first. The following months brought new opportunities for the Carter Foundation. A major tech company had offered to partner with them, pledging millions to expand their programs globally. It was a game changer, but it also came with new responsibilities and increased pressure. Jason and Vanessa flew to San Francisco for a meeting with the company's executives. The boardroom was sleek and modern, filled with some of the most influential figures in the industry. Jason, dressed sharply in a tailored suit, felt the weight of the moment as he glanced at Vanessa, who exuded confidence in her understated elegance. "Mr. Carter, Ms. Carter," one of the executives began, extending a hand. "It's an honor to finally meet you. Your foundation's work is nothing short of remarkable." Jason shook his hand firmly. "Thank you. We're grateful for this opportunity and excited about what we can accomplish together." The presentation that followed was seamless. Vanessa's passion and knowledge shone through as she outlined their vision for the partnership, while Jason's charisma and authenticity captivated the room. By the end of the meeting, the executives were fully on board, pledging their support for the foundation's expansion. As they left the building, Jason turned to Vanessa with a grin. "You were incredible in there." Vanessa laughed, nudging him playfully. "You weren't so bad yourself, Mr. Carter." With the tech company's backing, the foundation launched a new initiative focused on bridging the digital divide for underserved communities. They provided technology, internet access, and training to help kids and families adapt to an increasingly digital world. The program's first launch was in a small rural town in the Midwest. Jason and Vanessa were there for the ribbon-cutting ceremony, joined by local leaders and families who had already benefited from the initiative. The atmosphere was electric as Jason addressed the crowd. "This isn't just about technology," he said, his voice strong and steady. "It's about opportunity. It's about giving every kid a chance to succeed, no matter where they come from. And it's about showing them that their dreams are within reach." The applause that followed was thunderous, but the moment that stood out most to Jason was when a young girl named Aaliyah approached him afterward. She was clutching a tablet that had been provided by the program, her eyes wide with excitement. "Thank you, Mr. Carter," she said shyly. "Now I can do my homework at home, and I won't have to go to the library every night." Jason crouched down to her level, his heart swelling. "You're going to do great things, Aaliyah. Just remember to keep believing in yourself." Despite their success, Jason and Vanessa remained deeply involved in the foundation's day-to-day operations. They traveled frequently, visiting communities, meeting with program participants, and ensuring that the foundation's mission stayed true to its roots. One of their most memorable trips was to a small village in Kenya, where the foundation had partnered with local organizations to build a school and provide resources for education. The trip was transformative, not just for the community they were helping, but for Jason and Vanessa as well. As they toured the school, surrounded by children who sang and danced in celebration, Jason felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He turned to Vanessa, his voice filled with emotion. This is what it's all about." Vanessa nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "It's incredible, isn't it? To think that something we started so small has grown into this." Later that evening, as they sat around a fire with the village elders, Jason and Vanessa listened to stories about the community's history and dreams for the future. It was a humbling experience that reinforced their commitment to making a difference. Back home, life was as busy as ever. Jason was nearing the end of his basketball career, and the decision about when to retire loomed large. While he still loved the game, his priorities had shifted, and he wanted to dedicate more time to the foundation and his family. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching Elijah and Maya play in the yard, Jason broached the subject with Vanessa. "I've been thinking about retiring," he said, his tone contemplative. "I don't want to wait until my body forces me to. I want to go out on my terms." Vanessa looked at him, her expression thoughtful. "Are you ready for that?" Jason nodded slowly. "I think I am. Basketball has given me so much, but it's time for the next chapter. And I want to be here for all of it. With you, with the kids, with the foundation." Vanessa reached for his hand, her smile warm. "Whatever you decide, I'll support you." When Jason announced his retirement at the end of the season, the response was overwhelming. Fans, teammates, and fellow players all expressed their admiration for his career and the legacy he was leaving behind. But for Jason, the most meaningful moments came from the messages he received from the kids he had mentored through the foundation. "You've taught us that being a champion isn't just about winning games," one letter read. "It's about how you treat people and the impact you make. Thank you, Mr. Carter." Jason kept the letter, along with many others, in a box he called his why. On days when the weight of responsibility felt heavy, he would reread them, reminding himself of the lives he had touched. Post-retirement life brought new challenges and opportunities. Jason took on a more active role in the foundation, working alongside Vanessa to expand their initiatives and explore new ways to give back. They also found more time to enjoy the simple pleasures of family life, cooking together, taking the kids to the park, and having movie nights at home. But even in this new phase of their lives, Jason and Vanessa never stopped dreaming. One evening, as they sat together planning the foundation's next steps, Vanessa said, "I've been thinking about writing a book." Jason looked at her, intrigued. "A book? About what?" "About us," Vanessa said with a smile. "Our journey, the foundation, everything we've learned along the way. I think it could inspire people." Jason nodded, his smile growing. "I think that's a great idea. And you know what? I'll write the foreword." Vanessa laughed, leaning into him. "Deal." The book, titled More Than a Game, Building a Life of Purpose and Love, became an instant bestseller. It chronicled their story, from the unlikely beginning of their relationship to the creation of the Carter Foundation and the impact they had made together. Readers from all walks of life found inspiration in their journey, and the book's success brought even more attention to their cause. Through it all, Jason and Vanessa remained true to themselves, proving that with love, determination, and a shared purpose, anything was possible. As they stood together at a book signing event, surrounded by fans and supporters, Jason looked at Vanessa with a smile. "You know," he said, "I used to think my greatest accomplishment was winning a championship. But now I know it's this, everything we've built together." Vanessa squeezed his hand, her eyes shining. "And we're just getting started." Their journey continued, fueled by the love and commitment that had brought them together in the first place. For Jason and Vanessa, the future was wide open, a testament to the power of resilience, partnership, and the courage to dream big. And as they walked out of the bookstore, hand in hand, they knew that their greatest victories were still to come.